This is the voice of freedom. We are not one voice. We are many. We are your voice. But we can only be effective if you use your voice. Your voice. This is the voice of freedom. We will not hide from the truth. We will ask the hard questions until we are sure we have the truth. Welcome to the voice of freedom, where your voice will never be silenced.
Well, good evening, folks. Welcome along to the Voice of Freedom, another Tuesday night. No Ricardo Bosi tonight. Of course, he let us know last week that he was going to be relatively busy doing other things. So as far as I'm aware, he's still off doing those other things. Did manage to replace him with somebody fairly decent, though. So PATRIOT101 sitting in the green room at the moment. I just want to get some housekeeping out of the way, I guess, is the easiest way of describing that. Thanks to everybody already in the chat. Hello to everybody in there having a bit of a chat already. Can you blame Bosi? Jesus, you don't want to stay in here long, do you, mate? All right. Well, I'm going to try and keep a bit of an eye on the chat tonight because there are plenty of fools and I have very little tolerance tonight. So let's just leave it at that and see how long you last. I'll try and block the porn as it comes through. We're obviously getting hit pretty hard with that at the moment. Now, we're off to Hervey Bay. We're going to do a live show Friday night from Hervey Bay. Here are some of the details. I'll remove my head out of that so you can focus on it a little bit. And the big man himself, Dave Guru Graham, will not be appearing on the show via live stream. He is getting on the big silver bird with no propellers and is going to come to Hervey Bay in the person. So you'll be able to catch up with Dave Guru Graham, myself, and well, you never know who else might float in online or off. In fact, we may even be able to get our guest this evening to make a bit of a guest appearance on Friday night. He's usually good for a song. So we'll see if we can't work one out of him maybe for Friday night too. But those are the details if you are interested in coming to the gig on in Hervey Bay on Friday night. It's happening at a little venue called Blazing Saddles, not Salads, God, Blazing Saddles. It's more or less behind the Torquay Hotel in Hervey Bay, if you know that area, and very easy to find in Freshwater Street. Plenty of parking, and there's a pub there for meals and drinks, and the reception centre is sort of out the back of that area. So we'd love to see you come along for that one. And thanks to Mel, who is our host in Hervey Bay, and Di, along with the peer group. They've really got together to put this together, and we're really looking forward. It just so happens to coincide with the Hervey Bay Seafood Festival, which is happening on Saturday. And, well, I've got to say, I'm always up for a new challenge, so we might try a bit of seafood. I don't mind calamari. There are certain types of fish I'm into, but there are some magnificent little restaurants in Hervey Bay, and I'm sure they have something pretty exciting planned for Saturday. So Dave has a plane he has to catch back to Sydney on Saturday afternoon, so we will have to leave at some stage. But we're going to be around for breakfast, and we'll try and make it a seafood breakfast. We'll see what happens. But we'd love to see you in Hervey Bay. If you're going to come up, it's really a donation at the door kind of thing. They're going to run some raffles throughout the night. So we'd appreciate you getting behind and supporting those. There won't be I don't think, any cost on the door going through, as I am aware. All right, I think that's most of the housekeeping out of the way. I will give you a little update on the Aussie Cossack. But I guess I can do that while introducing our guest tonight. You all know him. We all love him. He is PATRIOT101. Good evening, Glenn. How are you, my friend?
G'day all. Hope we're all well.
So Aussie Cossack has been moved, mate. He now has a new address. I've got that running across the bottom of the screen at the moment for anybody who wants to send him a postcard. They have removed him from Long Bay and they have sent him back to Silverwater, albeit at a different part or portion of the correction centre. And they have reclassified him by the sound of it, in that he's able to mix with some prisoners and is able to get phone calls, or not get, but make phone calls. So he's able to talk to Mrs. Cossack, I think, for a little bit longer than 6 minutes at a time, but is only allowed a certain number of calls a day. I believe that's how that's working. I haven't spoken to Mrs. Cossack this week. I did leave a message, but she's a very busy lady, as you'd appreciate. So if you are interested, then the Aussie Cossacks' new postal address is Simeon Boykov, Min 603977. Don't forget that number, very important. The Dawn de la Osa, or Delos, I don't know how you say that, Correctional Centre, Lockbag 115, Silverwater, New South Wales, 1811. I think that's most of our housekeeping out of the way. I would like to thank some sponsors who've or some people who've very kindly donated to keep us going and get this show on the road. Got some exciting news for that coming up in the next week, I hope. So may even have a bit to say about that on Friday night. We'll just see what happens. But those people who are running across the bottom of the screen, thank you very much. Can't thank you enough for your support. It's through your support that we're able to do things like Hervey Bay and to be able to get things happening in the world, hopefully to wake a few more people up. So thank you for your support. And as always, folks, if you want to donate, you can do so. Go to vofhq.com and there is a donate button there. Unfortunately, my web guy's gone and got quite crook. So we had expected to have the new website up and going. It's still only a landing page. Had hoped it was going to be up and going by, over the weekend or certainly yesterday, but he's still quite unwell. So we do hope all the best to Jaden, mate. Chin up, get better, and the website will be active sooner rather than later. That's at least our hope. Glenn, I'm sorry. I've talked for about 5 minutes and I've said g'day to you. I've let you nod a lot and wave a bit and not say a bloody word.
You're all right. You're good at
So how's your last week been since we last chatted?
Oh, it's always the same. Hectic. Hit the ground running every day. Yeah, pretty hectic.
Haven't bogged any excavators?
Snap tracks, bogged excavators, blown up engines. That's the story of my life.
Oh, mate.
Yeah, that's industry for you, isn't it? That's in the construction industry. That's part of it all. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you? How's your week?
I had a very interesting week. There's been a few developments on the streaming front. Been working a lot behind the scenes with Project Matilda. So just want to make everybody aware. I am not Project Matilda. I have nothing to do with it. I've got no money in it. I'm not any part of Project Matilda other than you, a user. Yes, Dave Graham and I have been pushing pretty hard to get the live streaming part of Project Matilda up and running. And the boys have been working overtime. Daniel, particularly, who owns Project Matilda and is the creator of Project Matilda, is a spectacular young man. And I encourage everybody to, if you haven't already done so, go over to Project Matilda and register. And if you register now, there is a chance that sometime in the future there might be $1 a sort of month subscriber fee that gets leveled because Project Matilda does need to get bandwidth. And bandwidth costs money. At the moment, it costs about $1,500 a month, and that'll help us stream to about 2,000 people. But if we want to go bigger than that, we need more money. So, unfortunately, it's either assault everybody with ads or we start some kind of and we don't know how it's going to work. Daniel hasn't figured it all out yet. It's all still a bit of a model. But what I can tell you is that if you sign up to Project Matilda now, then you won't be charged for a year for any subscription fee. At least that's the thought process going forward. So I would encourage you to go and sign up to Project Matilda. And the live streaming, we did our first test live stream this afternoon. We had 5 people involved on it, and it seemed to work faultlessly. So there are a couple of little kinks in the system that we need to iron out, but we are much closer to having a home at Project Matilda that will not censor us. And I know, Glenn, that's something that you're very keen to get to as well.
Absolutely.
All right.
We don't want this censorship anymore. We've had enough of this mainstream rubbish.
Yeah.
All of us.
Exactly right. Yes. Thanks, Tash. I'm just going to have a little bit of a word. There's a few people that I know who are in the chat tonight. Tash, I'll get you to Just let me know if things get out of hand and I'm not watching. Just buzz me or text me or whatever, and we'll figure it out. And Natalie, same for you if you want to help me out with that. I can't figure out how to make you guys admins through this system. Otherwise, I would. All right. So, Glenn, pile of pictures you sent me this week. And I've got to say, having a bit of a look at it as I loaded them in.
Yeah.
Well, folks might be a little bit shocked. So tonight we're going to have a bit of a deep dive into the satanic side of what's going on. And that probably means that I'm going to have to remove all of these videos off YouTube's. And we've got all the channels back tonight, believe it or not. So I'm going to have to remove them all after the show tonight and send them off to Project Matilda instead. Because I'm pretty sure after we discuss some of the things tonight here, they're probably not going to leave them on YouTube. Do you think?
I don't think so.
All right.
I don't think not with what they're affiliated with, Carl. Do you know what I mean?
No. Yeah, I would agree. All right. Well, let's get into the first one. It's a pretty interesting way to bring things up.
That's it. They're starting to raise their children a little bit different these days, apparently. They're allowing this.
I'm just trying to find the best possible screen for that. But there you go. That might have to be it.
Yeah. I mean, we all know that Slayer is a band, right? But Slayer is a band that's a Luciferian band. There's no secrets in it, but this is what they're putting out for the children. These are dolls you can buy for these children now. I mean,
yeah, wow.
How out of hand can it get? Like, seriously, how long is it going to take for people to start to see that there's an agenda out there? And how many alarm clocks do people need?
Well, yeah, that's a. I mean, it's certainly a gift that only certain parents would buy for their children, I'm sure. Yeah, not something I'd be looking for. That's an interesting little logo.
Yeah, teach your children to get used to. Or we can't say some things on here, but I'd love to be able to say some things on here. But
exactly.
Yeah.
All right, and then of course they like publishing books as well.
Yep, they're very good at that. That's a great one. That one. So
can you imagine what that middle book? Can you imagine what that middle book would do for activities?
You'd probably be more than likely shocked. You'd probably find this amongst a lot of schools. Funny enough, with some of the books I've seen lately in some of these schools.
Wouldn't surprise me one iota, sadly enough. Do you know, my daughter showed me a thing. I'm not much of a TikToker, but my daughter showed me a thing on TikTok that's doing the round, so maybe some people have seen it. You know, there's escape rooms, those escape rooms that are making all the rage at the moment. You go in and you can do, you know, the asylum, or you can do this other kind of thing. You get clues. You've got to sort of escape out of the room using clues. So there's an image that's been uploaded by obviously somebody who works in one of these escape rooms and works in the control room. And these people are doing a horror style escape room experience, and they're trying to figure out how to get the clue. And they eventually convince one of these people to lie down on the table in the room, and they're going to perform a sacrifice ritual in the hope it's going to get them a clue. And this TikTok video is sort of alternating between what this girl is seeing on her screen, what these people are doing in the room, and how they're coming to this decision process that, of course, in an escape room, in a horror scenario, you're going to have a human sacrifice to get a clue. And this technician is horrified and shaking her head, eventually has to jump on the intercom system and say, "You don't get a clue that way." You know, like, wow. But where's your head at to be able to go to that?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. There's another one.
Yeah. There's plenty of them. And that is something that's actually an American book. I believe. I'm not sure that it's here, but I know that it has been used for some examples in America. This one, that's a good one.
Oh, that's a real beauty, that one. You know, like, you won't be bullied again if you become an evil satanic scumbag. Well,
yeah,
we've got news for them.
No prizes No prizes for guessing which state in America that's put up in. Have a look at the palm tree in the background. Maybe you can't see it with the ticker running.
Yeah, that's
across it.
definitely California by the looks of it, isn't it?
Oh, look, you took all the. Jeez. Spoiled it all, mate.
Sorry, you were waiting for the comments to guess that one, but yeah.
Oh, no. I was being a bit facetious about it all. So there you go.
Oh, there you go.
Here's the new Barbie you can buy.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Yep.
In fact, I believe this one's been out for a while. I don't think this is a sanctioned Barbie, though. Let's be honest. I think this was actually put together by the cult that came out of Hollywood during the 60s, 70s. And I think this was a manufactured thing that they put out. It wasn't actually a real Mattel toy. This one, on the other hand,
that one is.
That
one isn't. If people don't believe it, just go online and try and buy one.
Yeah.
Go online and try and buy one. I guarantee you'll be able to buy one.
Yep.
They are selling this now. They are selling this, and the funny thing is, people are buying this stuff with their kids.
Yeah, or they're buying it for themselves.
Or they're buying it for themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, and then educating their kids with it. God help us.
There we go. That'd be a little kid. That'd be just a naughty kid.
Yeah, just some of the imagery.
That
one's a good one too.
Oh, that's a beauty. That one. That's Ken as Jesus. Isn't that a great one? Now, wow.
Yeah,
pretty hard to even.
Ken G. Well, they don't say Jesus exactly, do they? It's
no, they
Ken
don't.
Jesus Christom or something. Christo.
Oh, I'm pretty sure is a word for Christ.
Yeah, I would have thought so. Yeah.
Latin.
What is the INRI? Now, I used to know that.
Yes. INRI, Son of God.
Is that what it is in Latin?
Son of God, I think. I can't be too certain on that.
I'm sure there will be a very well-educated person in the chat who
I'm sure
somebody may have some idea. I'm just having a bit of a scroll down because I'm sorry, I can't keep an eye on the chat and click over these pictures at the same time. So I'm just looking for anything that leaps out at me as drastically awful and needs to be banned immediately.
They are out of control, these people. They are really out of control.
Yeah, that's definitely not good. Of course, you can buy your own clothes.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, dress your little kid like that. That's a way. What is wrong with them?
Have to be said, I haven't ever seen a kid walking around in that shirt or a shirt like that. I've seen plenty of, like you say, death metal, thrash metal, goth band sort of shirts that certainly have satanic connotation to them. But I've got to say, I haven't seen anything like that just walking around on kids.
I think that's.
I wonder how would the public accept that on a child?
No, I think that's the tunnel fashion. That's for the tunnel ones in the tunnels. Yeah, that's their fashion.
Yeah, right.
Absolute scumbags.
Yeah, I can hear what you're saying there. Here is another one.
Oh yeah, that's a beauty, isn't it?
This is the Italian version, clearly.
Oh, wow. It cannot be any more in people's face than this. To be honest, like, if people are not awake to this now and they can't see it still, I don't think you're ever going to wake up to it, honestly.
So you're going to make a decision in your family that you're not going to buy this sort of stuff for anybody in your family, and the kids go happily off to school, and then you believe you've sent them somewhere safe for after-school care. And then you wind up in a building that has that sort of thing out the front of it.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. I mean, everything on the left there does look like after-school worship there. It all looks a little photoshopped, if you ask me. But I have seen that statue in other places. So that is actually a fairly well known sort of a statue in those who follow that realm.
Just hold that there a second. Just back to that
Hold
picture.
that.
Yeah, hold that. You see something that's different on this one. Normally the Baphomet is the transgender, and it's got the
That's true.
lady's boobs. This one hasn't.
No, you're right. I hadn't noticed that.
And that I'm not too sure what that means, because I really don't want to know too much about their sick, twisted belief anyway. But there's something probably in that, I'd say.
I would say so too. Might mean it's a fake.
It could mean it's a fake, or it could be just to elude people. If they put the boobs
What
on
I'm interested in are the either statues or the people up against the back wall.
yes,
That,
you can see that.
there's something in that too, but you can't quite see enough. If you're a knitter and a sewer, then there is a pattern book just for you.
Yeah, so unreal for your kids. It's just awesome. This is the thing, Carl, that I'll talk about this now is they use the fact that it's expression of their own religion, and they have the freedom to believe in what they want to believe due to that. The thing is, when a religion starts harming other people, then it's not okay.
Yeah.
When a belief or religion harms another or other people, and has been doing for a long time, then it's not okay. And it doesn't belong on this planet at all.
Yep, I would agree.
Yeah.
So there are schools and after school care programs. There are before school care programs that offer a different sort of service. Not the kind of thing that most ordinary people would send their kids off to. And in some cases, ordinary people are sending their kids off to particularly early learning centres. And when little children who can't speak are screaming, it's being attributed to, mum's leaving or dad's leaving and they've got to go and spend the day there. Now,
Yes.
if you've been watching kids and you've seen your own carry on when you've left in daycare, you know there's a difference in the kind of crying that they do. There is a kind of crying that I don't want you to leave, and I'm really upset about that, and it's serious for them. But then there is a terrified kind of crying that they're being left.
That's right.
If you've got a kid who is screaming in that terrified way when you're leaving, do not leave your child there. Take them, get them out of there, because something is going on that you're not aware of.
Trust your gut.
Yeah. Don't ignore your gut instinct because you have to go to work, or you've got some other excuse, because that excuse is your child and potentially your child's life. So I would be, very, very urge you very, very carefully to choose where you send your kids and what they get taught. So
that's right. And there's a very good example right there.
Absolutely.
Imagine seeing the end of year photos and your child's done this in their classroom, had this picture drawn in their classroom.
Yeah, and got an A+ for it. So,
but the thing is, some people think that's okay. They think that's fine.
Yep,
it's not
they do
fine.
just that.
It's not okay.
And this is what we were talking about earlier, leaving your kids either before or after school. That can be a bit of a problem. This one here looks a little photoshopped, but I'm fairly confident that those masks exist.
No, they do. That's on Amazon.
Oh, is that on Amazon? Right.
On Amazon, yeah, that is. You can buy that on Amazon. You check it out yourselves. They're selling them on Amazon, yeah.
And you can get that one too if you really like.
Yeah, that's on Amazon too. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Well, we already
found a few more. Found a few more Barbies.
Yep.
God, it doesn't end, does it? Look at it.
No, it doesn't end. It just there's one holding the head with the blood stain behind it. Look at that one with the sword in the hand.
Yeah, the sword. Not even a sword that can take a head off.
Yeah. This is Yeah, well, that goes a lot right along with that movie Avatar, doesn't it? You know, like that
I was going to
shows.
say, yeah, that's either an Avatar thing or I was going to say Guardians of the Galaxy, but she wasn't quite blue, was she?
No.
More
Yeah,
Babamet Barbies,
yeah.
and there you go.
Even the
That's
pentagram in the background on the box, isn't it?
yeah, it's everywhere, isn't it?
No. And
Everywhere.
once again, if they weren't up to no good, these societies, if they weren't up to no good and they weren't harming other people, we wouldn't care what they did.
Yep, exactly.
But the fact that they
Exactly.
are, and we do have the proof, which we can't show here, which we will be showing on the Nun 2K program. That's the thing. That we're not going to allow it. We're going to expose it and we're going to stop it.
Absolutely, 100%. Speaking of exposing things, but I don't know that we really want to stop it just at the moment. You sent me some interesting pictures of Vladimir Putin.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
I'm going to put this picture up. This is a picture of Vladimir Putin as we know him now, right?
Now, that's right.
Go back 20 plus years.
Yeah.
This is the Vladimir Putin that we knew then.
Yeah, there's a considerable difference in the
Okay.
facial lines and structures there if you have a close look at them.
Close look. Look at the skull. Look at the
Absolutely.
the formation of the skull, and then compare that to that. Even though it's a different facial expression, he's put on a few kilos. I mean, there's 20 plus years in between those photos.
Correct.
I'm looking at the ears. It's
The
difficult
eyes.
to the
eyes.
eyes. Yeah,
They're totally different. They're really different. There you go. The eyes. There's another one there.
Very different. Yeah, and then there's this bloke who looks nothing like either of them.
Oh, who are they trying to fool?
So you've got this marked down somewhere. Somebody has tried to say this is Putin.
Oh, that's Putin. Well, what I've done, I've gone back and looked at all the old photos of Putin.
Yeah,
I've gone back on and had a look through the internet, the old photos, and put them all together and gone, oh wow, wasn't that funny?
So even if you were to compare that to the original Putin, I mean, there's probably more likeness there.
Yeah.
Eyebrow, nose.
But still, you have a look at the cheeks on this one here. They're more drawn than the other one.
Well, this bloke looks like he's just come straight out of the KGB and has been eating cabbage and water for 12 months. That bloke looks like he's been out for 12 months. And this bloke looks like he's been out for 20 years.
Yep. I think the other one is the real Putin, which is the other one. Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's the real Putin, and I think he's no longer around anymore.
Yes.
For reasons we sort of won't talk too much about on here.
Of course not. And there are certain other things that we can't really talk a great deal about on here, except to say that somebody took a wonderful picture of a really strange boat in Texas.
Yeah, it looks like a new tour boat, doesn't it?
It does look like a new tour boat. I don't see any slides around the outside like you might see on the Carnival cruise line.
No. It's a wonder we can't see any nooses. Anyway, we can go there, but yeah. Anyway,
they wouldn't do that on a barge, wouldn't they? They'd be walking the plank, wouldn't it?
Be walking the plank. Well, they're under Admiralty law, aren't they? So they say.
That's right. Army RDs.
Yes, they want to exercise it on us. We'll right back at you.
Yeah, exactly. And they've got quite a platform there. They can exercise it right off. That'll work out
They can
quite nicely.
sit on the ship. There you go.
Yeah. Here's some strong messaging that we've been getting more of in our media recently. Pregnant men.
Yes. That's Calvin Klein. Can you believe it? Like, wow. Come on, guys.
Well, sadly, I do believe it, and that's the sad thing. I'm not surprised. I am really not surprised. Nor am I surprised at that.
Anything Barbie puts out, well, I won't be surprised at it. And there it is, right there.
I mean, are we sure he's not just hiding Barbie's basketball up there?
Yeah, well, that could be a possibility, but it doesn't look like it. It looks kind of like he's pregnant in that. Yep.
Yeah,
Look
and
at
not that I'm
that.
a much of a fashionista, but Barbie's dress, really not fitting. And I mean,
And
physically
this is
fitting, you'd think.
yeah, and this is all part of the agenda, Carl. Where it's come into play is they've totally empowered. There's nothing wrong with women wanting to get into the workforce. That's fine, but they've totally
Yeah.
empowered it the other way around, so that the woman becomes the bread and butter of the family, and the man becomes the Mr. Mum. And they've
And
done
there's
this.
nothing wrong with that, except for the physical impossibility of a male having a baby. Why do you want to be called Loretta, Stan?
Yeah, this is all to take the warrior out of the man. They don't want warriors in the world.
And of course, this is how they begin programming our kids, because it's okay for boys to play with Barbies. Absolutely, no problem with that.
Yep.
But if the Barbie they happen to be playing with is a pregnant Ken, well, that's
Yep.
okay too, because the kid will grow up thinking. And yeah, I know I've got little people in my life now. They are taught not to care, which is great. But they also have questions about, well, if he's a boy, how does he have a baby? And
Yeah.
from a 7-year-old, that's really not something that most parents are geared up to try and discuss with them. However, you will find your friendly, year 2, year 3 teacher, grade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teacher, more than happy to explain questions like that to your children.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just be careful. That would
And
be my suggestion.
And at the schools, they're also teaching the children now that they can be any sex that they want to be.
Yeah, yeah.
If I had a child that age now, they will not be going to school. I can tell you that much. I would be homeschooling that child as quick as I could. I'd get him out because that system doesn't teach them anything anyway, Cole. That's all the
Yep.
curriculum designed to brain dead them.
Yep. And this picture, to me, I find quite amazing because, at the end of the day, I'm a bigger bloke. Bigger blokes have boobs. You can suck on my boob all you like. All you're going to get out of it is an ingrown hair and some blood if you're lucky, if you suck too hard. So this is, I don't know what the, yeah.
I know.
Let's go on to something that's much easier to explain, shall we?
Yeah. That's an easy one to explain. That's right underneath the mines, that one. There's a mine area right underneath that. Oh, yeah. I just wonder how that happened.
I wonder why. And a perfectly round hole at that.
Oh, it's spot on round hole. I wonder what sort of went through that hole to cause that.
I couldn't imagine. It'd have to be a big drill.
Well, either a big drill or a massive rod falling from the sky.
Or a massive rod falling from the sky. You're right.
A 10-ton rod falling from the sky could have done it too from a satellite.
Because it doesn't look like the sinkhole it's being painted to be, does it?
No, it doesn't.
I mean, folks, how many sinkholes have you seen that are that round?
That's right. It's funny how that just caved in a perfect hole.
And let's just get a bit of an idea, folks, if you haven't had a look already. Let's get an idea at how big that hole is. In the top right-hand corner of that picture, there is what looks to be like a drilling rig or a semi-trailer. But at any rate, there is also a fairly large water tank, green water tank.
That's
now,
right.
let's pretend that water tank's 3 meters wide.
Yep.
Well, how many of those water tanks would fit across that hole?
It is 25 meters across, so I believe 25.6 meters or something like that across. I think it's more than that. That's what they've told us.
Yeah. Well, not that we have much intel on rods of God, but we are led to believe that they are telephone pole in length.
Correct. 20. Yep.
And the width hasn't. Yeah, but the width hasn't ever really been discussed, has it?
No, the width hasn't been discussed, but they're not massively wide. They pretty much resemble a telegraph pole, probably in width. It's just because of the velocity that they hit at, 10 times the speed of sound.
Yep.
That's what causes that.
Does punch a nice clean hole.
We're not saying
we're
not saying that's what did it, but let's make up our mind on what that might be.
Yeah. I mean,
it's not a big
it could be a sinkhole.
Yeah.
a perfectly round sinkhole with nothing underneath it, like a river or anyway. Why would they be doing that? Maybe they're looking for family. Here's a few family ties.
Looking for the family too. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
the
many.
family here.
Yeah.
Well, the story of Hitler's daughters is quite interesting because that's Eva Braun beside Hitler there in the photo. But some of Hitler's children, there are more. It came out
Oh,
of a union with domestic help in Argentina and places like that after the war. So
that's correct.
there is a more of a there's a lot of half sisters and brothers floating around. Is that the best way to describe that, mate?
Yeah, of course. And you got to remember, Hitler had a lot of sex slaves as well. So
yes.
he would have impregnated a lot of sex slaves as well. And these people sought out the bloodlines of their own family. And then they nurtured those bloodlines to make them psychopathic like themselves. So that's what they wanted.
Does seem to work. He'd have to be very proud of the way his daughters grew up. 3 leaders, 3 countries.
Yeah, 3 evil leaders, exactly like their father.
Yeah, done pretty well. But they weren't the only ones.
No, that's right. Then we have Alistair Crowley.
Yes.
Barbara Bush.
We're not sure that Barbara wasn't Bob at one stage?
Barbara could have been Bob Bush, yes. Another one that is Alistair Crowley's daughter is Betty White.
Yes, I heard that. Yes.
It's one
which fits with the story that she was like the Queen Dark Witch of Hollywood.
Yeah, well, my mother said to me one day when she died, remember when Betty White died, she goes, oh no, she goes, that's a tragedy. She was a lovely lady. And all of a sudden, the next day, up comes all the story about Betty White. My mother's jaw was on the ground.
Oh, yeah. And of course, Justin Trudeau in there in the middle. People might be a bit shocked to know that Justin is not quite Mr. Trudeau's son. He's more Fidel Castro's little boy.
Well, either that or he's a real dead ringer.
Yeah. There's a lot of DNA questions there. A lot. Now, this is a really good example of the Pope. The High Sparrow, I notice you've got in the middle there, Jonathan Price.
Price, yes.
He has an uncanny resemblance, does he not?
Oh, does he not? He looks like his twin brother.
Yeah.
Except for the years. Have a look at the year. You know, like you can't change the years. That's one thing the plastic surgeons cannot do is the years.
Yep.
That's the well-known fact. Unless they put their masks on, but even when they put these latex masks on, you know, there's differences because of the face profiles underneath.
Yeah.
They can't make it perfect.
Yeah. And that's why you see seams in them occasionally around the neckline, you know, where they start to lift.
That's correct.
But yeah, I thought that Jonathan Price Pope Francis comparison very useful, very, very useful.
Yes, I did post something on my channel too about the 4-dimensional holograms where they can project themselves into a box, into a booth.
Oh yes, yep.
Yes, yep. I wouldn't link to this channel, so wouldn't link to your email, so I'll let it go.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
There we go. Michelle Obama, originally.
Yes. Now this is back in the days where Michelle liked to be called Michael, though.
Big Mike.
Big Mike. But it wasn't the first person that Obama had gone out with Barry, rather.
No, she did. It was Susan Rice. Well,
yeah. Well,
that was really Susan Rice, but anyway, well, I might have a picture of who that may have been there somewhere, Carl.
I think that one.
That one right there, Obama's first lover, Pakistani lover. There you go.
There you go. Yes, that's not a shock. No. Not a shock for some of us. We've sort of been through that. We found that one a few years ago. But it can be quite eye-opening for people who do not still to this day believe that he has any contact with, you know, those sorts of areas. But he was deeply embedded in Pakistan for a long time.
Yes, he was.
we've had, and I've actually had a fairly animated discussion about this next picture. Well, although I didn't have the picture to help explain it at the time, but the lady
Yes.
concerned was absolutely adamant that I was
Yes.
off my rocker to suggest that the Queen wasn't the Queen.
It's actually funny because the mainstream media just recently came out with the fact that the Queen has a body double.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they're starting to leak it out now too because it's too hard to deny now. There's too many pictures that show it's not the same lady.
Yeah.
Even
I mean,
even
there's,
now taller than the old one. She's all of a sudden got rid of the hunch.
yeah, that was one, and didn't need the walking stick there for a while.
Yeah, she
Could get
smiles a lot
around.
more
Yeah.
too, by the way. She
Yeah.
smiles a lot more. She's very happy to have a new role.
Yes. Yeah. One with a lot less pressure. Once again, we're back here at the ears with Biden, and I think
Yeah.
we've all been through Biden's. Well, we've been through his ears, I was going to say, but we've been through this probably. This is very differently very definitely two different blokes.
Oh, there's no doubt.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we're
It's
just
one
trying to.
of these actors, by the way, has recently passed away, I believe, so on life support. So
Ah.
they're down to 2 actors now, so they've got a lot of work on their hands, these 2 boys. Whoever's
See,
doing it.
that's the issue. That's what happens when you're running with clones. They just
Just don't they?
not
Yeah, sure. Yep. Oh,
not no
wow.
longevity.
The chemtrails don't exist, Carl, do they?
No,
Chemtrails don't
that
exist. No.
nothing
They're
at all. No,
no, they're
that's spraying something healthy so that the chickens will, be able to grow a 4th wing or something.
right. They're spraying stuff in the air to heal us, are they?
Oh, that's
Maybe.
right. Yep. Yeah. Well, that's what we're hearing.
Stuff in the air to heal us. Yeah.
So that's what the inside of one of those planes looks like.
Yeah.
With clearly, obviously, large containers of various different concoctions, and obviously a pump and spray out system you can see halfway down there in the middle.
Yeah.
And of course, how do they get it to us?
There we go. There's the chutes.
And this is obviously what's coming out of the back of a larger aircraft. We've seen them come off wings. We've seen them off wingtips and spreaders and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, this is how they like to eject it out of big aircraft, and they'll have matching ones on either side. They may not be up back near the tail, like where this one's located.
They're not always in the same place on the planes. It depends on who's doing it, what sort of plane it is.
Yeah. So yeah, not all of them are like that. So I just don't think that.
Now, sorry, I had another picture with loads of pictures of the inside of these planes. If anyone thinks that's Photoshop or whatever I want to say, I had a picture of loads of different planes and loads of different inside pictures, and I will try and post that to my channel as soon as I can find it. It's a bit hard to try and find.
I've probably got a few of them floating around too, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go on to some other images that of people who don't exist anymore, shall we? Let's kick off with this one.
Oh, hello, JFK Jr. That's the world's about to say hello to JFK Jr. again since 1999. That's a significant number, wasn't it, Carl?
Very significant number, yeah.
Yep. So,
but he obviously went missing in an aircraft on his way down to Martha's Vineyard, flying out of New York after his George magazine was starting to make quite the impact. And if you go back and have a look, there are some very interesting George front pages or front covers worth looking at.
Yes.
Some would say for past shows future intent or whatever it is. Yes. Go and have a look at some of the pages of the George magazine. Now, of course, on that aircraft that they only found bits and pieces of, I think they never found the bodies.
That's right.
Was JFK and his lovely wife,
Carolyn.
Carolyn.
Yes, JFK and supposed to have been dead. Doesn't look like they're too dead right there, does it, Carl?
No. Do we want to talk about Kayleigh McEnany now?
Yeah, well, go ahead.
Oh, if maybe people aren't aware of who Kayleigh McEnany is, or was at least during the Trump presidency. She wound up becoming the public face of the Trump administration, the press secretary, the lady who ran the press room. And boy, did she run the press room. A very, very capable lady who I believe is still playing a significant role in the team. Now, some people say that Mr. and Mrs. McInerney may not be Kayleigh McInerney's parents, really.
That's correct. That's correct. She could quite be a Kennedy there. Carl.
She might just be a baby Kennedy.
Yeah, she could be a baby 100%. So that's what I was going to say about JFK Jr.'s plane. They learnt of the plan to take down that plane. They knew what was going to happen at the time in '99. So what they actually did was they set up an ex-military paratrooper pilot in the plane. They set up voice recordings of JFK being in the cockpit. So it sounded like he was talking back and forward. They had a list of the questions to ask, and the answers would come from the recording. Right? The plane was set like the tail to be blown off at a certain certain area, and
Distance,
a certain distance away. And what happened was the pilot was ejected from the plane, and they blew up a plane with nothing on it but a voice recorder.
Well, that certainly makes more sense than some of the other stories I've heard. I'll grant you that. Of course, there have been a couple of stories about this next image too. I'll be interested to hear how that one plays out.
Yeah. Lady Di, eh?
Yeah.
And
now, I got to tell you, if this is real, my God, what a red pill for the world. I mean, seriously.
Yeah. I do believe that she was being hunted by the royals because she knew what they were up to. She wanted no part of it. She wanted out. There was no way out. And Dowdy Al-Fayed, who some people don't even know, but he was only with Diana for about 2 weeks. So it was not really it looked like a relationship, but he was more a rescue mission. Dowdy Al-Fayed to get her away and to keep her protected from them. So when you've got that much money behind you, you can stage an accident quite easy, Carl.
Yes, indeed you can. Interestingly, though, we've not had any kind of hint that Dodie himself is alive. And,
no, we have.
And his father has been rabid in his pursuit of the truth in what really happened in that tunnel that night, and has never got it, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah. But then if someone fakes their own death, they can't show themselves again in public until time, So I guess sometimes even to their own family, depending on what the family is like, so. Once again, when it comes to money, you can't trust anybody.
Yeah.
So people would pay to find that out, so that's how it goes.
Yeah. Our next one is one that you actually surprised me with because I haven't heard this, but here is an interesting story.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's true or not, but it looks good.
Well, it does look good. So take this for what you will, folks.
Yeah, it sort of follows a narrative.
Take all of these for what you will. We've got no way of proving them. I mean, we can all point and look at the ones that look obviously photoshopped. But I'm just having a bit of a read of all of that. Wow. Father in the Libyan army.
It did come up on a Special Forces site, Carl. So, yeah, I tend to think it's up there for a reason, I don't know.
I tend to agree. When you find them on those sorts of sites, there's a bit of truth to them.
Pretty much.
And that face split that they have up the top, I mean, that's pretty wild. And then, of course, our last image to finish on because I really like it.
Go, Big Mike again.
Got to get Big Mike up there, mate. There's 700 comments in here. I better get through and have a look at a few of them and see what's going on. Has anybody asked any questions? Having a bit of a look. Okay, that's an interesting question there. Doctors and the government opening kennels in Australia, people not moving. Great, let's read some books and have a beer. Yeah, right. So there have been some very interesting movements this week. There is a group called AMPS, the Australian Medical Professional Society. I would urge people to go and check them out. amps.redunion.com.au, I think, is the website off the top of my head. Now, these are medical professionals who are taking on the AMA. Now, a lot of people will be aware of Dr. William Bay, who has been very outspoken in recent weeks and actually took on the AMA at their conference in Brisbane 2 weeks ago and watched as his colleagues in the room scattered like rats that they are off a sinking ship, which they are on.
Oh, they're on the sinking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They didn't want to be identified. They didn't want to be told what they were doing. They didn't want to be reminded in public of what they were doing. They wanted to be patted on their back by the chief medical officer, which thankfully Dr. William Bay silenced. I mean, mind you, they silenced his microphone, but that didn't stop him. Now, next week he goes to present his case as to why he shouldn't be deregistered to that pack of know-nothing, nobodies that runs the registrations of doctors in this country. We have to stop this group, folks. This group has... If the public ever wants to have faith in the medical side of our universe ever again, then these people in control of the doctors and nurses registration need to be removed, preferably taken out and publicly flogged before being thrown into a cell for many years.
I think it's even more than that, Carl, because they're assisting in a genocide, if you ask me.
Absolutely.
It's even more serious.
AMPS are fighting this. So I would urge people, if you're in Brisbane, there is a public meeting coming up on the 17th of August. I'm going to go and attend that. That's a Wednesday night. I have said that I would love to come and live stream the show, but the doctors might be a little bit concerned about live streaming, given that some of the things being said may not be, whatever. So I understand that completely, but I do hope to go along. It is a public meeting. I'll get the details to everybody in the coming days. If you are in Brisbane, I urge you to attend. Dr. William Bay's hearing, I believe, is on Monday. He's not speaking to anybody until after that. And of course, we all have a pretty reasonable idea of what we believe will happen to him in that hearing. They will listen to every word he has to say. They will nod their heads a great deal, and then they will ignore every bloody word of it, and they will more than likely deregister him. At this point, we need to make sure that the people are watching for that to happen, and that we can fight the government, because we have to let the government know that we've lost faith in those people.
Yeah.
And that the medical profession itself has lost faith in those people.
Yes.
That are trying to dictate this.
We don't want sales reps for pharmaceutical. That's not what we're after.
No.
We're after
we don't want the brothers of former prime ministers sticking their hand in the jar here. Their hand in the jar. These are bastards of the highest orders, and we want nothing to do with them. So
Hippocratic oath has become the hypocritic oath.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's a bit of an issue. Trump got raided today. We've left the best till last. Well, not even last, but
go home apparently. So by the FBI, who are we know who the FBI are by now. So,
yeah, absolutely. So the FBI have apparently taken away boxes of material from Mar-a-Lago, which they claim he Trump removed from the White House. Can you imagine Trump carrying a box? But anyway,
Oh dear.
I've already had people ring me and say, look, he's going to jail. Look, every chance Donald Trump will be arrested in the next 48 hours. Right?
Oh.
Every chance.
Oh.
Well, every chance they will try and arrest him in the next 48 hours.
He's got quite a few body doubles to sort of help him there. So like one of them will just take the fall for that. That's fine.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, if, as we believe is the case, the military are actually in control,
correct,
with Trump as the nominated president,
yes,
even though working in exile.
Yeah, the mainstream media. They even said President Trump today. The mainstream media said it on the news. It was like President Trump. They were like, he's doing something now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he has every right to every document that was in the White House still, correct, because he's running his second term, correct, even though the public doesn't agree that there is such a thing. If you wanted to fight that, you would need to go to the Supreme Court of the United States of America. They've already issued a finding that the election was held illegally.
Yes.
And is not legitimate.
In regard
now,
to
that finding hasn't been released publicly, but it has been made, hasn't it?
It has been made. Yes. They do.
So,
yeah. They do.
Let's just think for a second that Donald Trump gets arrested for supposedly having boxes of documents at Mar-a-Lago he wasn't meant to have. The Supreme Court then announce the annulment of the Biden administration. The arrest of the Biden administration would happen at exactly the same time.
Correct. Yes.
Probably the arrest of every one of those FBI agents and prosecutors who was trying to put a charge on Trump at the time.
Correct.
Because this is a giant sting.
That's right. It's a show. It's a show playing against their show. They're using the same show against them that they've been using on us. And they don't like it.
No, they do not like it.
Like it.
Not one iota.
Not one bit. No, they're going down kicking and screaming, Carl.
Yep. So I learned an interesting statistic just before we got to air. In Australia, I didn't realise, but close to 50% of all new students going into tertiary study every year are going into some form of medical field.
Yes.
Okay. So now that was a pretty standard figure up until 2 years ago. In the last 2 years, tertiary admissions into medical fields have fallen from 50% to less than 16%.
It's going to be even worse for the people who've got their degrees, because when they find out that that university that taught them what that taught them is all a fictional rubbish, and it's all going to fall because of what they've been teaching people, they're going to lose those degrees, and then you're going to see some pretty angry people that have worked all that time to achieve these degrees and been happy about their little certificate, and that certificate is going to be worth nothing because of these systems. They're all Luciferian rubbish systems, a whole lot of them.
Tash is saying here that Hoodie's in some deep shtuck at the moment. You know anything about that?
I haven't heard. Tash, I think Tash did mention it to me. I'm not too sure what happened there. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm reserved with Hoodie.
I get a lot of people asking me to have Hoodie on the show. And I've spoken to Hoodie on a couple of occasions, not on Voice of Freedom, but I did speak to him on TNT Radio. And I've also seen some videos of Hoodie. I've always stepped back from Hoodie. There are more questions there than there are answers for me at the moment. And I see that there are people in there saying Hoodie is controlled opposition. Well, I'm not prepared to put that on him just yet, but he is definitely something.
I do do believe he does hang out with the controlled opposition if he's not the controlled opposition, if you ask me. So,
certainly making some very good friends with one of them at the moment, one that we know is Masonic.
One that we Masonic, because we've seen the pictures.
Yep. And of course, he got hammered pretty hard. Started losing his following, started losing a lot of his following. And he put out the emergency call. And as they do in the Masonic filth world, when one of their brothers puts out the call, they all come running and wrap their arms around him. And all you need to do is look at the feed to see who comes to help. Ask yourself that question.
That's it. That's it. That's all you need to do. It's just logic, as we were talking about earlier in this podcast. It comes down to you guys using your logic. You know, like not just your logic, but your gut instinct. If you can link into that and straight away recognize that feeling inside that says something's not right, then run with it.
Yep. Don't ignore it. And don't believe just because, and I say this as much for me as I do for PATRIOT101, as I do for Guru, for any of us. Do not believe every word that comes out of our mouth as gospel.
No.
Test it. No. Always test it. That's what we do.
We're not forcing you to believe us. We're definitely not forcing you to believe us. You either listen or don't. You know,
and I'll tell you that there are certain things that hang on, I'll tell you that there are things I can't tell you. That sounds a bit stupid, but I question everything and I question everyone until such time as, they gain the trust. And I can tell you that nobody has gained my full trust on this channel yet, except maybe you, Glenn, because you've got nothing to hide. But Guru too, to a large extent. We don't know each other.
You got to say
we don't know each other. We're gonna spend 6 hours in the car this week, so we may not have a relationship by the end of the weekend. We'll see what happens. But that goes from Bosi to everybody. Everybody I've spoken to. I don't trust what they say as gospel. I go and try and find the truth for myself. I try and cross-reference. I check, and so should you. Always check. Don't just believe. Because just believing is how we got into the state we're currently in. So
I showed people a process of how to search for the answer that you're looking for the other day on my channel. I did a demonstration for them, like on how switching the question up until you find the answer. You keep switching the question up because the little robots that try and attack you every time you ask a question, you've got to work a way around them because the answer's out there floating in cyberspace somewhere.
Yeah.
So the only way to find it is you've got to ask different questions until the answer comes out.
Yeah.
To take the right evidence that you're looking for. And you have to switch it up each time you ask the question. And never ask the question, is there? Because is there straight away gets the little robots to go, they're asking you, let's feed them the answer that we want to feed them.
Yeah.
Straight away. So there's a little bit of a tip when you're looking for something.
Being asked a question about Michael Jackson.
Yeah, MJ's alive. MJ, Chester Bennington, Chris Cornell. We're going to get to see Soundgarden in concert again. That makes you all happy. I can't wait for that one. There's a lot more. I did include a list on my channel one day. There were a lot of people that came from a special forces site. So
I wouldn't expect to see the Foo Fighters anytime soon unless you're planning a visit somewhere else.
I wouldn't expect to see them either.
Nicolaus, I've had enough of you. Thank you. Good night.
Yeah. I'm not watching.
Yeah, no, I just couldn't be bothered.
As you know, I don't comment side of
things. I'm just scanning down. I don't know how many other comments you put in. I've read 2, and that was enough. Big Mike rolled out of the gutter. Yeah, he certainly did look like that. Now, here's an interesting thing. Mark Stone brings up Dr. Victor Chang. Now,
Yep.
Dr. Victor Chang was a prominent heart surgeon who was murdered, gunned down in the street,
That's right.
apparently in a random attack.
Yes, that's right.
Didn't quite work out that way, though. We did hear that it was Triad involved, I think, at the time, that had some sort of a extortion thing over the top of him. But in years later, there were other questions raised about Dr. Victor Chang. Did you hear much about those?
I've heard little bits and pieces of Victor Chan. I haven't covered a lot of that. I have heard that though, that Victor Chan was part of the Illuminati.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't comment on that too much, Carl, because
No.
I'm not too sure. You know, like so.
No.
I know the time that it happened in '92, I believe, was that when that shooting happened.
Yes, I want to say, yeah, well, certainly early 90s, yeah.
Early '92, definitely '92, because I had the Victor Chan concert in Sydney, where that's the time when I met Michael Hutchence.
Oh, yes.
That was during that time when they came over to the Victor Chan concert in late '92.
Yeah, right. Yeah, cool.
So the benefit concert.
Tyne's got some interesting news. Over 900 in witness protection. Whistleblowers.
Yeah. Oh, there'd be more than 900.
Believe that.
There's more than 900 in witness protection. There's more than that. That's yeah, way more than that. That's a lot of people in witness protection. Maybe 900 in the US alone would be about right, I'd say.
Yep.
But there's all over the world. There's a lot of people there getting ready for the showdown. These people, they've got the evidence, they've got the proof, they've got all the things that they need to put these people either behind bars for a long time, or we know the other alternative.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So I've just had a message from Maria Z, which is very nice. I've asked her to come on the show at some stage in the next couple of weeks, so she's just letting me know she is flat out at the moment. Launching a new broadcast this week on top of her existing shows. So if you're a Maria Z fan, I'm sure you'll be tuning in for that.
Hey there,
wish her
Maria.
all the best. Yeah, wish her all the best. Absolute
love your
talent.
Work. Yeah, love your work. I've been following you all along for a couple of years now. Fantastic information. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah,
So
she's a real go-getter. So I'm just cruising down here. Looks like there's been some pretty reasonable chat. River Table's in tonight. G'day, mate.
Hey, River.
And the Galactic Larrikins. Now, Bradford, I was meant to call him over the weekend. We were going to set up. I'm going to Brisbane tomorrow, so I'm going to see if he's still around. We might be able to catch up. I'm not sure if he's going to be hanging around. He's the only Galactic Larrikin that stuck it out in Queensland. The other two wimps had to go back where it was cold. I shouldn't say that. Rob and Mark had things they had to do. And they made a hell of an effort just to come up for the Ipswich show. So love them for that. But Rob, I beg your pardon, Bradford was staying with family up here. And I think he had to get back to Canberra. He had some gardening duties he needed to look after, and was hoping to come back maybe to Hervey Bay. And I love the way you kept your face straight then, Glenn. So with a bit of luck, he'll be back for Hervey Bay. But if not, I'll give him a call after tonight's show. Actually, see where the hell he is, and we might be able to catch up tomorrow for a bit of a chat. Good to catch up with him. The Galactic Larrikins, of course, we hope will play a big part in what is to come in the future.
Yeah, quality men and
yeah, quality blokes. They really are. If you happen to see them floating around, say hi. So I'm just having a bit of a glance down Ricardo's. Well, I don't know that Ricardo runs the official Australia One party page, but they're posting up a few things about Trump's raid today. When President Trump lawyers scrambled to the raid, she was told to stand in a corner and demanded they shut security cameras down. They didn't. My view sounds like they handled how they handled Manafort, Navarro, and Roger Stone. The FBI out of control. The White House have lost their minds. And there's some footage. So that's on the Australia One Party _ official Telegram site. If you want to go and have a look at that, Ricardo and Rio seem to be going pretty hard on that at the moment. All right, mate, we've been going a bit longer than expected. Don't suppose you've got a song for us? People seem to like you singing us out.
I've got one I wrote just the other night, funny enough. So I'll get into that one. It's called Lost. So Lost. Yeah. It's let me explain what it's about. It's about all those people that sort of half know the truth and they don't want to stand up, and they, they close their minds to all the possibilities of anything being outside their narrative or curriculum that they followed. It's about these sort of people that'll celebrate the victory but won't do the work, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So we get a lot of them. You watch the celebrations of the victory of the people that don't do the work or haven't bothered to even get involved to know anymore outside of the square, if you know what I mean. So let's get into it, mate.
CPN, just before you go, CPN wants me to read a question. Look, mate, I don't know how. That's one of the oldest jokes in history. I used to ring up when I was 14 years old and see if that bloke stood at a bar. So, yeah, don't bother. I'm not quite that stupid. I thought there was another question there, but I was wrong. Sorry to interrupt you, Glenn. Loved your intro.
Quite right. It's fine.
I'm going to remove myself from this and let you begin. I apologize.
If I make a mistake, don't, because it's a brand new song, all right? So just give me a chance with this one.
That's all right, mate. We won't know. We've never heard it before. Just press on.
Awesome. No worries. Thank you. Lost again. It's like it all just keeps repeating. Close your mind and your world will close up too. Train your brain and your mind will give up growing. There you go. Etched in stone, just a name that once was you. You will find a place where you can run and hide, just hoping someone else will save your world. Then celebrate the victory for free. We will stand against this game of tyranny and set a standard all the world can see, even if we have to stand alone. A large percent of the world we know don't recognize the fraud. So enslaved and too afraid to draw their sword. It makes no sense that you would stand underneath another man. You won't be free till you decide to take a stand. You will find place where you can run and hide, just hoping someone else will save your world. Then celebrate the victory for free. That we will stand against this game of tyranny and set a standard for the world to see, even if we have to stand alone. Yeah, we will stand against this game of tyranny and set a standard for the world to see, even if we have to stand alone. Even if we have to stand alone. Even if we have to stand alone.
Brilliant, mate. Excellent.
A couple of little mistakes in there, but that's all right. Not too bad.
No, well, you know, when you only wrote the thing half an hour before we got on the air, you're not doing too badly. Going to have to get together and record all that stuff, mate. We'll get a nice little mix happening and we'll put it out.
Fantastic. Sounds great. Awesome.
Songs from PATRIOT101. Songs of the Rebellion. No, we don't use that word. We don't use that word. I beg your pardon. So while you were singing and I was listening, I was also having a bit of a scan through some of the questions. So I'm not going to bother with that one. We've covered that. Alex Jones, that was a big outcome. $49 million for disinformation.
$49 million. Was that what he got fined?
49 million. I bet that made him coffee. Fucking clear it up then. But I don't know. Will he ever pay it? No, because he's broke.
No. It's all unlawful.
You know, apparently selling all those vitamins hasn't worked out nearly as lucratively as he'd hoped. And
I love him.
Apparently the whole thing's bankrupt though. Look, if he's going to get nailed with $49 million of punitive damages for disinformation, what is going to happen to mainstream media?
Well, they are
held to account.
Well, they're making a claim against him. When they make that claim, he's got the evidence to disprove their claim. So they have to have the evidence to disprove his theory or what he says. And they don't have the evidence to disprove it because, like I said in the first place, he has the evidence to disprove their claim.
So Angela says here that he's been ordered to pay $49 million.
He won't pay that.
Oh, no, he won't. I know he won't. But to be ordered to pay it means he's been through the trial, he's been found wanting, and that order has been made. It'll certainly quieten him down for a while, I suspect. But yeah,
I don't think so. I don't think it'll quieten down either. I think he's still going to keep going. He's already put something on the other day that I posted about it, but yeah, he doesn't care.
Joan Cahill or Carl, depending on which way you want to say that, says, do you think this is a precedent which opens up a way to get the Bushes, the Clintons, the Obamas, the Bidens? I'm not sure what this is that would be the precedent, but all of those names you mentioned, the Bushes, the Clintons, the Obamas, the Bidens, they've all been got.
Yeah, so, Joan, if you follow my channel, you will see that they've all been got. What you're seeing now is a show. All you're seeing is body doubles, clones, and it's pretty hard to think there's clones out there, but they do clone. They've been cloning for a long time. So they're using body doubles, they use clones, they use face masks. They've got proper masks these days. So if ever you see someone that looks like them remotely, it's generally a body double, clone, or a mask, or CGI.
Yeah. I don't really no financial advice in this show. I'm not a financial advisor, and Patriot 101 is an excavator driver. So take financial advice from us. You're bloody insane. But
that's right.
The RBA are trialing digital currency. I don't know that you've got much to add. I can't really add much to that. I wouldn't touch it with a barge pole. I would suggest you go and have a look at the interview that I did with Cass Smith last week on my channel.
I can only say that I did have a video where the guy was going over his new rego papers, and I haven't verified or confirmed this, but apparently there's no $ now on the rego papers. There's a new currency sign.
Right.
Yeah, so that's one that.
Oh, well, I paid my rego a week ago online and still haven't received anything back from them. They don't even bother, as far as I'm aware, to send you a receipt these days.
But as we're aware, there was going to
do
be. Sorry,
might have sent me an email. I'll have a look. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard two different types of currency. One's going to be the trick one, and the other one's going to be the real one. So
yeah,
one of them's
I've heard.
Yeah,
I've heard that too, and this is sort of leads to Bruce's question here: are those flappy bits of paper worthless? They're only worthless when the people say they are worthless. When the people lose faith in the bits of flappy paper, then it becomes a real problem. So at the moment, the bit of flappy paper holds a nominal value.
They are fraudulent. If you want to look into it, they are fraudulent. If you want to look into it, it's all a fraudulent systems set up fraudulently. There's no gold backing to it. It's just printed. It's just printed paper, as you say. So they really are not valuable. They're only valuable because, like Carl said, we've said so. We've allowed them to let them be valuable.
Yeah, we've called a pineapple a pineapple because we value it to be a pineapple. Sydney Morning Herald reported that the red-headed clown gave Rupert $10 million for funding geoengineering as PM. Does not surprise me. I believe that successive Labor prime ministers have handed out millions and millions and millions of dollars. You might also find that one former Liberal prime minister has been involved in handing out quite a few millions of his own to a Russian geoengineering company. Thank you, Malcolm. And that little steering group that happened to control, I think it was $10 million also that he sent to this Russian geoengineering company, just happened to be his little backers from Wentworth. You know, that schmick little group that got behind him and helped get him elected.
Just my battery's showing low and I'm plugged in still, so I'm just trying to work out something on there. So we might have to wrap it up in case this computer goes flat.
Absolutely. I'll go real quick. Rosanna says something stinks about Morgan and Monica. Well, the relationship stinks because they've broken up. They've gone their separate ways. As far as I know, Monica is in a motorhome in Brisbane. I'm looking maybe to try and catch up with her at some stage. I don't know if it'll be on here. We'll go and have a bit of a chat.
Sure.
There's a lot of questions. So, Rosanna, you are 100%.
I'll try my best to get on there and answer some questions too myself. So I'm normally hitting the ground running, and as soon as I leave this show, I'm off again and I'm on another tangent. So I do the best to fit everybody in I can, answer questions, do whatever I can. But it's pretty busy.
Tasha said people are asking about Hoodie, why he told people to go home and come back on the 29th of March. Well, there are a couple of stories about why he told people to go on the 29th of March, but one of the ones he's telling at the moment apparently is that he was under threat of life. Somebody had put somebody near and dear to us all had put a hit out on him apparently. Now, I don't know about you, but when he told that story the other day, he was tearfully retelling it to a group. And that's why he told people to get out of town and come back on the 29th. I call bullshit.
Yeah, well, it's a wonder he didn't do it. I remember
the press conference. Oh, there's no reason to be here. Get out of town. Come back on the 29th. There's no reason for 2 million people to turn up and protest. Don't be here. Hoodie was the one telling you not to go. Hoodie was the one telling you stay away. All right? Everybody loves Hoodie. But I know. And now he comes out and he says, oh, no, I told everybody. He told all those tens of thousands of people to go away. Oh, look, there you go. We've lost poor old Patriot 101. But anyway, Hoodie's told all those people. Oh, no, you're back, Glenn. There you go. He's told all those people to go away. And for what? Because he apparently had a death threat. Wow. I'm a bit confused about that one, Hoodie. If I ask you, I wonder if you'd tell me the truth. Question Angela has, what about Bosi? Trust no one. Go into everything. Look hard. I have a lot of questions about A1. In fact, I would have liked to have asked Ricardo a number of questions directly about Victoria tonight. I'll put the questions out there. The first question I'd like to know is, where is Australia One as a party in Victoria at the moment? Are they ready or able to offer any kind of an alternative for voters in Victoria for the November election? Second question would be, how many nominations and how many people have you got standing in seats? How many people have been approved already to stand in those seats? And the third question would be, if you have approved all those people and let's say you have enough to make a difference in Victoria, is that going to be a person standing in every seat? Is that going to be a person standing in every other seat? And the final question I guess I have for them regarding Victoria, but this extends to every state and on a national level as well, is when will the system start working? Everybody who is in the system currently waiting patiently have heard the reasoning, the blue cards are being held up by this, that, or the other reason. They also heard Ricardo say a couple of weeks ago that had been fixed. So where are you in Victoria as a party, A1? Are you going to be able to mount any kind of resistance to the Labor and Liberal parties of Victoria? Any kind of assistance to those people living in Victoria? Because I'm not sure at the moment that the party's ready to do it. I don't know that they've got the infrastructure or the backing or the background, rather, to get it done. So, yeah, I do have questions. And I would, appreciate the opportunity to ask them of Rick when he's not busy. I mean, clearly he's busy at the moment. But I'm getting flooded with questions from people in Victoria asking, how do I vote for somebody in A1? And I tell them, have you stood up? Have you registered? Are you prepared to be the person people will vote for? Because that's what it needs, folks, in Victoria. It needs you to stand up, join the party. If you want to join the Australia One party and get behind Ricardo Bosi, then you need to go through a process. And you need to get that process completed fairly smartly, because the last thing you want to do is go into an election campaign in November with 1 week of exposure in your particular electorate. You need to have this sorted by the end of August, A1. You need to have people on the ground from September all the way through October, letting people in their electorates know that there is an A1 representative that can be voted for. And then, after 6 or 8 weeks of pushing the local candidacies, then you might be able to be in with a chance to make an impact in an election. But if you're planning on having these candidates come out higgledy-piggledy all the way out through October, and then 2 weeks out from the election announce that you've got 4 people running under the A1 banner in Victoria, whoopie-doo. Whoopie-doo. So, yeah, I'd be looking for a bit more support in those regards. And I don't know what's going on in the background to make it so hard. Clearly, there are security issues and all that sort of stuff. But people in Victoria have got some very good questions, and I think they rightfully deserve answers. So we will await Ricardo's rejoining us at some stage, and he might be able to help put a bit of that together for us. Anyway, folks, that's where we stand tonight at the end of business. Thank you very much for everybody who's joined us tonight. Thanks to Glenn, who obviously had a bit of a problem and his battery's gone flat. Yes, terribly sad news about Olivia Newton-John today passing. That was very sad. Thank you, Bruce. Heard from an employee of the ANZ Bank that they're preparing for QFS in September. Well, there you go, because I heard the same thing from a different bank, the NAB, from somebody who works in there. So you've got to think 2 different banks, 2 different people, 2 different sources completely. We're on the way to nearly confirming that there might be something happening in September, but that'd be about as far as we go with that. Folks, if you would like to donate, then every little bit helps. We're about to get on the road, and we're heading up to Hervey Bay, which I will put the poster up again for. So we're heading off to Hervey Bay Friday night. Guru's coming up for that. But throughout September, steadily we'll be working my way down through New South Wales heading into Sydney. We hope to do a show in Singleton. We hope to do something with Kevin from the survival guys, Australian survivalists. We're going to go and do the forging course there in early September. So no doubt there'll be some interesting video of me burning myself in the fire or belting my thumb into non-existence with a hammer. That's going to happen. Then heading down into Sydney, where we hope to catch up with the Bosis, Mrs. Cossack. Aussie Cossack will be having a hearing on the 13th, I think it is, of September. That hearing is to essentially see whether or not he's been treated a bit harshly, and they might let him out. They may say he can get off with time served. They may also say he can get out on parole. They may also say he can stay there until the 26th of November. So 13th will be the next really big date for Aussie Cossack. And as we've said, you can go and check out, send him a postcard if you would like to. I'll bring that one up again. Actually, I'll stop it from... no, I can't stop it. There you go. So the address is coming up there along the bottom again, folks. If you haven't got it and you'd like to send the Aussie Cossack a postcard, he has been moved from Long Bay back to Silverwater. So the Ladorn Los Correctional Centre, Logbag 115, Silverwater, New South Wales, 1811. Don't forget to include Simeon's MIN number, which is 603977. Otherwise, the mail won't get to him. He has been getting all the mail, and he thanks everybody for it. Can't wait to hear the stories as they come up. Hervey Bay Friday night. It's going to be a great little night. Thank you very much to Mel Ragham, who's done a huge job getting all this together for us, and to Di, who's helping us out as well. The peer group are right behind it. So we're really looking forward to getting up there on Friday night for a live show. We'll have a couple of interesting people to hopefully pop in and tell us a few stories, maybe the odd joke, and somebody is going to wind up singing a song. So, music chick. I like what you're saying here. All right. Before I go, let me just post that one up there so folks can see. Don't worry about it. There's not going to be an election in Victoria in November. I hope that is the case. I really do hope that is the case. Yeah. And that is another topic that I would suggest people go looking into. And if you were wondering about me and, wondering about Ricardo Bosi and where he stands on that kind of thing, I would look into that topic if I were you. Get people on board the whole movement, vet the leaders, don't get in the way, use the card system. Yep, there are some pretty good ideas in there too. Yeah. Yeah, people are getting leery of card systems. There's been some talk of Australia Card and all that kind of crap, but I think they've got all the information on us anyway, so I don't think we need to worry too much about that. All right, folks, look, been going half an hour longer than I thought we'd be going, so thanks for your support again tonight. If you do want to donate, then please go to vofhq.com and hit the donate button there. We would really appreciate it. As I say, we will be getting on the road. Every dollar that you gives us is an extra dollar we're going to be using to put fuel in the car and keep going. Bought a tent today and bought a little cooker so we can pull up on the side of the road and sleep and do all sorts of great things. So it's going to be a ride, folks. Looking forward to having you along for it. We'll be back again with another show tomorrow night. I'm hoping to get some doctors from AMPS on tomorrow night. But failing that, I'll figure something else out. It'll be a special show regardless. And for those of you who've been following the Michelle Lee story, Michelle, of course, bravest woman in the world, insanest woman in the world, has decided to row a boat from Ensenada in Mexico. It wasn't originally meant to be San Francisco, but America being what it is with the jabby, or the juicy dart, as it has been renamed by Fitz. She had to leave from Ensenada in Mexico. She did. She left about 27 hours ago, 28 hours ago now. And I will get her tracking link up so that if you want to follow her, you can. She was rowing pretty hard. It was a nice flat ocean when she left. She had people at 1 o'clock in the morning. It was in Mexico when she departed, and Michelle had been with a bunch of early morning swimmers in her time over there, leading up to her departure. Well, they all came out with lights on their back flashing, and they swam with her for the first couple of miles, and then somebody with a yacht followed her for 10 miles or so out, and then left her there. So she's on her own, and we look forward to following her journey over what hopefully will be the next 200 days, but it could well be a bit longer than that. She's going to row across the Pacific Ocean. My God. All right. Yes, I love the Juicy Dart too, Tash. I thought it was an absolutely brilliant new name for it. So the Juicy Dart, we give all credit to Fitz for that. It's the funniest thing I've ever heard come out of his mouth, if I'm honest. All right, folks. Thanks, Sudsy. Appreciate you, your thoughts. And to everybody else tonight, for your good comments and your bad. Love them all, except for the ones I really don't like, and then I just kick you out of the room. But hey, if you don't like watching the show, go and start your own. That's how it works. Be safe on the roads, folks. I'm on there tomorrow. I see a lot of dickheads, and I just hope you're not one of them. Be good, and tomorrow night, like I say, we'll have something a little bit special for you. I hope. I've got a couple of things working in the background, so hopefully it'll be all right. Thanks, folks, and any support you have for the Voice of Freedom, gratefully received. I will tell you, T-shirts coming soon. In fact, will arrive in the post tomorrow. We've had a test batch done, so there will be the odd merchandise thing that we can put up. A T-shirt that'll help us put a few more Ks in the car with petrol. So that's all it's about. So we'll give you an idea of some of those images probably Friday night when we get to Hervey Bay. So thanks again for your help tonight. Love your work. See you soon.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!